champion that he has been a big fan of throughout split number 2, but it is open for JDG, who are our first pick in this draft. So if they want to maybe steal that one away right out of the gate, that is an option. But they're going to steal that up instead. Does give TT the ability to focus on those solo laners. And Annie, who has been banned in all 3 games, going to be snagged up along with that Jace.
Yeah, I think the Jace is huge for Keshi, as well as getting something to duo with this Annie in the mid lane is going to be super integral for TT. But I got to say, Gala getting a massive comfort. Obviously, the setup has been him playing it more so than not. It's been 5 games. The next highest was the Caitlyn as well with him in the regular season. So definitely something they're comfortable on.
Aurora here going to be the hover and lock-in, it looks like, for HongQ. I do want to, similar to the Varus, extend a courtesy of a potential flex pick for both of these champions. If they do think that Aurora is an option into the Jace, I would be very interested to see if Xiaoxu decides to go for that and how he would execute in that matchup. But now I think we're probably going to be seeing a jungle pickup here for JunJia on 3, or maybe we go for a Nautilus, which I do think does very nicely into the remaining supports, most of whom are enchanters, and Nautilus really does like having matchups against enchanters, just to hook them and get the chunk out with their respective ADC, which looks to be the Varus.
I gotta, I'll out myself a little bit. I was not a believer in Vampire when he first came in, when he debuted on EDG.
That's okay.
When he was picking Nautilus and dying like 9 times in a game, and I'm just sitting there wondering what can happen. And the growth, man, the personal growth we've seen from all that time. Nautilus now one of his premier champions. He didn't play that as much in the regular season this time around, but still something they can really pair up well with that CC chaining. It will be the Jhin coming in with the 3rd pick for TT, so it's not 4, but at least Jhin gets played. But it is going to be a big focus away from that lane, potentially for carry avenues.
I'm very invested in what Feather is going to be pairing with the Jhin, because a lot of the premier pairings with this champion have been fearless away. We see the Bard is no longer available. We see the Seraphine is no longer available. Those have been really the 2 partners in crime for Jhin throughout his tenure in competitive play for the year. So means Feather might have to dig a little deep on the champion pool. Maybe he has like a Nami in his back pocket, but that duo to me does not feel the greatest, even though Feather, as we saw in their series against IG, is very good at the champion.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Is it comfort king or is it compositional strength king? And usually I would say comfort, but sometimes it can be that much of
we saw game 2.
A big combination. Yeah, exactly. As we do end up seeing the Trundle ban, so some respect given over there. We'll see what JDG want as their final ban.
Very immobile comp so far here from ThunderTalk. So I think the Skarner Impale has a lot of value if they decide to give that over to JunJia. That could be an angle. Also does give you some front line, which I think is very important whenever you have a Varus who in his own right is immobile. Could just generate that space for him to play around these late game team fights. As Leona, like you said, going to be the last ban here, and I would like a Maokai a lot, actually. Allows you to follow.
Maokai Jace was always really good.
Maokai Jace just locked down for some of these heavy hitters on the side of ThunderTalk.
We'll see if we don't want to get baited by hovers too much, but it will be the Rel coming through, and that'll be locked in for Feather.
All right, so gives you more team fight power, groups up all of the members of JDG. If Feather can get a good Magnet Storm and Junhao can shock blast off that timer, that could be an angle that ThunderTalk looked to go for in this game. But, you know, ThunderTalk hovered the Maokai, and JDG were like, you know what? That is a good idea. This is a good champion.
That sounds good. Yeah, you know, that champion might be good. Also, pairing it up, since it's going to be going to JunJia, just giving him control over the jungle with the saplings and things along those lines with the objectives up. We'll see how that all works out for him. The Cassante comes through for Xiaoxu, something he's well known for as well. And we'll see what we get here as the final pick.
Ooh, it's Chase Jungle, so they're hovering top laners.
Yeah.
Keshi on the
Fiora.
Fiora. Game 5. Oh, game 4, rather. Game 4. I'm a little sleep deprived. Game 4 Keshi Fiora here. We said, does
The crowd
ThunderTalk,
goes wild.
ThunderTalk have any pocket picks, anything crazy that they can put on display in a best of 5? And they absolutely do. Mazel, Fiora just pulls so much attention into this draft. I think now it really becomes clear that TT are playing for the top side. They're playing for the lanes that they have had comfort with the entire spring split. They will live and die by their rookie solo laners, and I love to see that.
Junhao with the Jace here. I mean, insane that we're gonna see a Jace jungle again when that was like rising in popularity in solo queue and things along those lines. But it's gonna be Junhao that says this is the time to put it all together. We have so many spotlights on the side lane, but the thing I want to also highlight is Keshi is gonna have to really navigate the map. Fiora is so strong in the side lanes and being able to keep that pressure there consistently. And that's something that TT maybe haven't been as good of in the past, but now is a hell of a time to start, and a lot riding on this game for TT. One of their lives to give on the line here in the playoffs.
ThunderTalk have one more chance to keep themselves up in the upper bracket. It's like you said, Lennon, there is a lower bracket to be played. There will be future opponents for ThunderTalk. They have already made top 8. They have already done so well in split number 2, but they want to go further, and this is the game to prove it.
Game 4, TT versus JDG, starting now. We got the crowds back. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm good.
Me too.
Just in case anybody wanted to know.
I don't know if
And,
Keshi is too happy, though, as he did get punched a couple of times by the JDG top side. So we'll be starting the lane with about 75% HP.
going for the early trades. The critical spots there in the top side. Get some healing back there. But first one since 2025, 369 on top esports. I missed that guy. I hope he comes back to us.
Me too.
But we take a look at the runes here. Double first strike for the junglers, by the way. That's first strike jungle Maokai.
I think in the case of Maokai, it really is just about wanting to maximize the resources, because you as Maokai aren't expecting to be like a very high economy jungler. You're forsaking camps. You're dropping quadrants. You are cheating tempo a little bit in order to have influence in these lanes, because that is where you are at your strongest. And for Junhao, it's about getting as many lethality items as you possibly can, trying to be up as much gold by 15 minutes, and you know, just flexing your item advantages once the mid game starts to rear its head. So same keystone, different reasons for taking it.
I like it. A little bit of a breakdown and a little bit of a same side pathing for both junglers. So coming to a head at the bottom scuttle will be where we see potentially our first skirmish, or if we want to see one of the junglers give that side. Something else to bring in from other games, though, has been JDG's propensity for dragons, as they have very much these last two games loved to keep pressure on those stacking objectives. Speaking of keeping pressure, Heru gonna get caught here. The flash play from JunJia with the Bramble Smash back, and now it's HongQ's dinner that is awaiting him. A couple more hits and one more smack from JunJia will get him first blood, and JDG for the first time in this series, I believe, will get first blood.
Gonna get the crab as well, so really good early start for JDG here. Heru just too far up on the Annie. Burned the flash as well, so the opportunity for a regank definitely on the table for JunJia after he gets this reset and likely clears his top quadrant as well. And this is kind of where we wanted to see the resources come through here from JDG. I mean, you've got a triple frontline comp here. So as long as your backline, i.e. the Aurora and the Varus, are in a comfortable spot, I feel like you're setting yourselves up for more dominant team fights like we have been seeing so far in this series from JDG.
I love this. Junhao feeling like he has some good skirmish potential. Has this fully under vision. Can get an accelerated shock blast in there to steal away the Krugs. Is he going to be able to do it here? He's going to hold. He's going to hold. He's not able to steal it. Oh, so close.
So close, yes, so far, and that'll delay the full clear timer for Junhao. He's actually going to stay on the map and look to contest these Raptors instead. He's not going back empty-handed.
Vampire was roaming away, but now turns back, and that's TT immediately having to burn Flash, Cleanse, and Heal from their bot lane.
Bunch of summoners expended there from both bot lanes. Again, does open up the opportunity for JunJia, the more aggressive and proactive jungler of the two. Just try and punish that at every opportunity. Cleanse also burned off of On, so that Jin, if he gets hit by a root from the Maokai, he is a sitting duck and he is a dead one.
Xiaoxu taking the fight into Keshi now. They're both about to hit level 6, so maybe upping the tempo there. JunJia looking for the play on bot side. He's thinking about going in. If Vampire can find an angle, that's going to be the insta-flash from Feather. It's really nicely done from him. The dredge line still connects. They might still have enough damage. It's the multi-CC shattering strike from Feather that does make the difference here.
And really good, I think, hold there from JunJia not to go for the root, because I think he knows once he gets out of that root, he's going to get stunned. He's going to get CC'd by the Rel. He's also going to be taking tower aggro. And without that flash, you just don't want to risk it being a play that could go awry. But on the other side of the map, Junhao is looking for a dive onto Xiaoxu, knowing that JunJia isn't here.
Give me that gold, he says, as he first strikes Xiaoxu, and trying to set up the inevitable dive. And we might be seeing another accelerated shock blast maybe at the ready. They're going to go in first. Keshi's going to get the CC chain here. It's going to be everything used, and the fadeaway shock blast from Junhao that was set up from the beginning gets him a kill back for TT.
Good decision-making from the jungler of ThunderTalk. They do trade a dragon for it, and a lot of pressure on this bot side. As you can see, Vampire is positioned very aggressively to try and fish for a dredge line. JunJia going to join him, but just resources into this top side that we talked about being important has to snowball in order to maintain relevancy throughout this game.
I want to see how they move this right, because Heru just faded down towards bot side. We'll be returning back up to that mid lane here, but we are going to see a moment of reprieve, and that's where I kind of want to focus back on this bot side, because this, not gonna lie, the first time in a long while we've had double engaged supports down here. And if we can, I believe we do have a graphic set up for these supports here, if we can bring that one up, Ice. But very impactful now, and even more so as they're going to be some of the fight setting tools for their teams. And it's been pretty impactful already this series, seeing them on Enchanters too.
It's really polarizing seeing Feather's stats, by the way. First in KDA, second in average assists, bottom for vision score percentage and average wards per minute. So he's either doing really good on one stat or bottom of the barrel on another one. Whereas for Vampire, been somewhere in the middle. And I do think with the higher game sample size, that is equally as impressive, especially when you are, competing against players like Kael, like On, these legends of the Ascend group. It is always fun to see Vampire, a relatively fresh face, I think, to the elite pool of Ascend support players.
Exactly that. And see what influence they can have in this game. I'm just wondering when this one breaks open. JDG still tried and true in their ways of that dragon stacking. Still a while till that next one comes up as well. But the big thing now is the readaptation of focus towards top side potentially for the grubs that have just spawned. There was a bush play attempted by Junhao. Won't find anything there, so he'll go back to clearing. We're getting an all-in mid lane. HongQ taking a brunt of damage from Tibbers there. We're going to go away from that one to go into bot side where Feather is getting locked down. The hail of arrows coming through. Gala is trying to get a couple more autos. Piercing arrow going to be healed through. He'll be fine for now. JunJia was hovering too.
Now is in the area, ready to respond. Maokai
JunJia
might
doesn't
be
know.
split from the rest of the team.
He's going to try to get an engage there onto Junhao. Flashes over the wall. Really nicely done.
flash.
Beautiful dredge line.
Oh!
That's a huge lollipop for Vampire. Now Junhao's in trouble too. Gala's trying to chase him down, but takes a huge hit. He's going to flash forward for the kill. On's going to cleanse instantly and take down Gala as a trade. But his life will be forfeit to the duo of JunJia and Vampire.
And Vampire gonna take the last kill there, and he absolutely deserves some of that gold. Maybe not as much as he got, but Dredgelines connecting onto key priority targets. He fished for Feather. All 3 members of TT were grouped up there, and he found the lowest health target, opened up the fight for JDG, and got them that win. Massive props.
Can't believe he hit that
to
one.
Vampire. Absolutely insane. As I do kind of feel bad though for Junhao. He had been waiting in that bush for like 30 seconds, and 15 seconds after he leaves, that's when Gala and Vampire decided to pull the trigger. If he had just stuck around for a little bit longer, maybe this fight could have been turned in favor of TT's, in favor of TT. And it looked like it was, but then JunJia with a good flash. Insane Dredgeline. My lord.
2 for 2 in Dredgelines in that play as well. I think he goes end up being 3 for 3 here, but a really cool play from Gala just to make sure they can finish that kill off as well. And yeah, that's 3 for 3. As he took the kill because he was worried that the kill was going to go over because JunJia was almost in 4-shot range. But it does end up giving a lot of gold to Vampire to try to finish some of these tankier items early.
All right, so back to live. We saw Junhao take those grubs. So that means a lot of split pushing power, given over to this Fiora. Side lane threat is starting to be unlocked here. We haven't seen a lot of action come through from Keshi, but as long as he's getting these items and now TPing top lane on
I think there was a mistake. That must have been a mistake, maybe, unless they can actually get Xiaoxu, but they're just going to try to potentially crash through here. But they had moved Feather and On up here. They're going to try to take the turret potentially. Dragon's being started up by JDG now.
They're definitely conceding this dragon. They're also conceding a lot of plates on the bot side. Gala is getting so much money from this, what feels like mistake from ThunderTalk. They do get a plethora of plates, but they divvy it up among 3 members. And that is not worth it when Varus on the other side is getting solo gold, as well as the just general objectives going over to JDG too.
They get the first turret, so at least it's some boon for them and a collapse play there. So that will be some extra chunk gold going over to TT. It will be responded to in kind by Gala on the other side of the map, and a reset for TT. And a continuation of the Dragons for JDG, which is going to be feeling good going into an Infernal Soul map that we now have.
This has been the bread and butter of JDG's game plans throughout this series, and the main proponent to their wins. Dragons really have been JDG Gaming's best friend, and they do trade the turrets 1 for 1, but more than that, they get the bot lane turret, Mazel, which is going to have way more long-lasting impacts for setting up for future Dragons.
Yeah, it's just playing into the JDG ploy here. I know we were seeing earlier a crazy stat for TT having like a massive win rate when ahead at or getting first turret. I think it was like 89 in the second game or first game, something along those lines. You know, maybe trying to keep with the percentage. You know, you just gotta keep that one alive for themselves. As Junhao actually going for a roundabout play into Xiaoxu. They do see JunJia, who's going to use the Nature's Grasp in. Let's see if they can get this combo off, though. JunJia is down. TP coming in now. HongQ joining, but he's not going to have too much. That's a nice little double hit from him, and Xiaoxu gets a double knock up as well. It's going to be On taking down. No, he gets taken down, and Gala has now showed up, and HongQ with another masterclass start here in Game 4, 3-0 on his Aurora.
It's a triple to the Aurora, and it's so much gold over to JDG. ThunderTalk thought they had an angle to look onto Xiaoxu, but the rest of JDG Gaming respond, and they smack down the ThunderTalk members. Keshi on the other side will get a little bit more gold for this Fiora, but that doesn't matter. It is so much gold given over to Aurora and over to HongQ, the big MVP of this team for the series. And yeah, crucial ultimate coming through here, does so much damage. And then even though they're over the wall, the Varus arrow chunks out On, leaves a HongQ a kill on a silver platter, and then Proto Belt to get the pick onto Feather there.
And that's a good death. I'll say it 1,000 times for JunJia. That is a good death. That is a situation where you are fine with what you were able to accomplish there, because now you look back and you see your mid laner at 1.5 items. which is going to feel really good. We do see those redeploys out from JDG. They are going to have moved Gala towards mid lane, who's on 1.5 items himself. We'll have about 1 minute and 5 seconds or so for this Rift Herald play now. We'll see if TT want to try to continue topside neutral objectives. They are much further behind this time around, though, almost 3k gold as well.
And role quests are starting to be complete. Keshi should have teleport by the time the Herald comes up, so he can just keep putting pressure here on this bot side, looking to get as many minions and as much gold as humanly possible before joining up on a fight with the Rift Herald. And I'm really going to look at what this Fiora has been cooking up, because Keshi is the only one on his team with a significant gold lead over his counterpart. We need to see that come through here on this fight, because the rest of ThunderTalk are suffering for their top laner's success, and he needs to pay them back. They're in debt, and he's got money he's owing his teammates.
But it's one of those things where it's like, his most successful plays are pushing that side lane and needing some of that focus to be taken towards him and away from him in the give and take. So it's a really tricky position to be in for TT. As Junhao has also completed his first item. The Cyclo Sword is there, as well as a Serrated Dirk on the back end of it. So some decent damage now for the Jace. Yeah. But it's still not sold on the Jace jungle so far here, Quax.
He's laying down some heaters, making it difficult for the backline to remain unbesmirched ahead of a potential Herald fight. But, you know, the more the seconds pass, it feels like a fight around the Herald is going to be less and less likely, and a fight around the Dragon is going to be the thing that we have to focus on. It's up in about 30 seconds. And again, JDG being so proactive and so steadfast in taking this bot side neutral have now put themselves in a position where if they get this Dragon, we're looking at another, 20-minute Dragon Soul.
That's just so crazy, man. As they already move in, try to clear out some of this vision here as well. They're actually going to get the back off from Xiaoxu, who's more than likely going to go try to answer topside and keep his TP available. These are the kinds of plays that set the moment for JDG. That has been a marker of their success so many times in the regular season. And now here in the playoffs, that's a massive TP flank. They'll have a huge shield too. TT need to move in.
And Keshi is here on the backline, but he's completely alone.
Flash riposte out of it. Vampire really nicely sidestepped there, and now he's locked down. Keshi doesn't even get a chance to play the video game. It's going to be the backline engage from HongQ, who does not survive. He will go down in the dirt. That is huge picks, though, from JDG as they also take the Dragon. Now on, getting pushed on by Xiaoxu, and that's going to be your second team all-pro top laner for LPL English, almost taking down the enemy ADC. They almost also take down Heru, and it is a bloody affair in favor of JDG, who took the Dragon and now will also take the Rift Herald.
It's an absolute disaster, though, for ThunderTalk, building up all of this gold for the Fiora, only for it to get CC'd and whittled down and completely left alone by its teammates. Keshi falls before he can even step foot or lay a morsel of damage onto the JDG members. Herald secured, and now JunJia might be in trouble.
Really good Bramble Smash, but he's still going to be dead to rights. Heru finally takes him out.
Feels like a consolation prize, though. Mazel, you get a kill, but you lose Dragon Soul Point. You lose the Herald. JDG have advanced this game the way they have wanted to, and it puts ThunderTalk on a timer, something that they did not want to be kind of put into. Yeah, so cool riposte. Vampire gets out of the way of the stun. Beautiful, like you said, gets autoed, rooted again by JunJia, knocked away, sniped with an arrow. It's rough out here for Keshi. I mean, only guy on his team that had a substantial gold lead finally gets his big breakout moment to potentially turn the game around and literally cannot hit anybody.
Look at this thrilling Jin gameplay. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him go.
Is this deja vu for you, Mazel, as the Jin guy in the call?
Yes. Yes. Hey, enough about that, because it's unfortunately for On not a place where Jin is going to be thriving at the moment with this pretty heavy front line that JDG is rocking. makes every attempt that much more difficult. Heru is going to try to keep up a little bit of gold in the side lane here. We did finally reach some second item spikes for TT, which is going to feel good, but that's where we can talk about some of the scaling aspects of these comps and really see how this kind of pans out for both, because they both do have options as time goes on in this game.
They do have options, but I feel like you talk about the breakpoints for ThunderTalk, and it's not substantial enough to get through this triple frontline comp. We talk about JDG in the context of their backliners being so safe because they have the bodies of Xiaoxu, of JunJia, and of Vampire to absorb all of that damage while also keeping HongQ and Gala safe. And that front-to-back style is what has allowed JDG to play the way they have. And you look at the inventories of TT, they've got no pen whatsoever. They're not going to be able to get through the triple frontline comp. So until we start seeing that in the inventories of the TT members, I feel like the team fights are going to be dominated by JDG Gaming.
And now we see Keshi setting up. Will be spotted though. Control ward is there. I just love some of this hunting, but that's really what I want to see TT execute here, is just let Keshi do what he does in the side lane once he can do it proficiently. There just hasn't been moments for them to kind of stop in that track and be able to take the time to do so. And now they don't really have much more time either. It's about a minute and a half for that do or die, it feels like, moment of the Infernal Soul.
Another soul point that is being expedited and rushed by JDG to just force ThunderTalk to play into them, be uncomfortable with some of these scaling threats that they have drafted up for themselves. And it's absolutely working. TT are going to have no choice but to respond to this Drake, to fight JDG, 2,000 gold down, and with a Fiora that feels underbaked at this point in the game.
Yeah, and that's a tough position to be in. I do like some of the moves, some of the preemptive vision there by TT, but you know the hammer is going to be coming down when JDG want to come into these fights. TP is available for Keshi, and Xiaoxu can join the fights, can join the tussles, and we are getting some samplings down from JunJia. Big CC can be available. Big picks are the ticket here for TT. If they can find the damage, they can find the stuns with Heru. And we're getting closer and closer to that ticking clock, and JDG, they're trying to set up this potential around this river. It's going to be the first ones to move into the river that are going to be the benefactors. It does look like TT is going to clear JDG out, but the distraction Carnifex is going to be used in the mid lane with the Rift Herald.
Vampire taken to about half HP. He is their main fight starter with these dredge lines that he's constantly connecting. Almost gets killed by JunJia with the empowered shock blast. So Nautilus taken out of commission. TT briefly have a moment where they could try and leverage numbers. Keshi has teleport.
Okay.
On. Oh,
Sapling not actually going to connect there. But this is what I want to see TT doing. They are winning some of the side lane pressure. They are putting pressure on the other members of JDG. And Feather's waiting for a big engage. TP's going to come in. Double TPs from the top laners. We are kicking the fight off now. JDG, it's going to be their Infernal Soul. They take him down, and now the explosions start to rain down. Keshi has joined the backline fight, but I don't think he's going to be nearly enough. Vampire doesn't even connect the dredge line, and it doesn't even matter. The answers for TT are running thin, and TT is running out of time in this series. JDG wiped the floor with them again, and this is back-to-back games that JDG have just out-muscled their opponent.
JDG put a stop to the story of ThunderTalk's miracle run before it even begins, Lennon. We were thinking after the IG series, can Lightning strike twice? But JDG will weather the storm, secure the soul, and look poised to take this best of 5 to open the playoffs.
Look at this smite fight here coming through. Oh, he doesn't even get close. It's JunJia that controls it the entire time. And then Heru dies to the infernal explosion there. Keshi tried it with all his might, and he wanted to find Gala's access, but he wasn't able to.
And this feels really bad to watch, because whenever you see these like really fun, unorthodox picks come through, you inherently want them to succeed. You want to see them pop up, because it's so rare where a Fiora gets drafted into League of Legends for competitive play, much less actually manages to make its mark on the game and influence the map in a meaningful way. And it's just not working for Keshi. He's trying to look for these flank angles. He's trying to look for these side lane plays. The side lane plays are somewhat working, Oh, hang on.
Oh my god, HongQ does so much damage, but he gets it returned right to him. He makes it out alive after killing Feather, and he's still pumping. JunJia's the next target now for TT, though. TT trying to collapse on. He's trying to get the kill on HongQ.
Oh!
Gets the shot after the flash, and that's it.
Should be enough to force JDG to back off. They've actually started hitting the Baron here.
No way.
Junhao is gone, so there's no jungle. There's no smite for ThunderTalk. But
Heru's coming over, though, with a TP.
Yeah. They're going to disengage. And really, I think now they just need to be looking to crack down this mid lane tier 1. If they can get this, it opens up the map a little bit more. But at this point, again, it's TT grasping at straws because JDG have just been playing the map better, been playing the late games more consistently.
And I'm really liking these comp styles the last couple games from JDG. Gotta tip my hat to Tabe and co. because they have really been cooking up some devious drafts. This Maokai finding so much value in some of the AP he's bringing, but now is also just going to be an unkillable force as he gets tankier and tankier, and then has gotten that Randuin's as well. You have so much poke and prod coming out from Gala and the Varus. The saplings are out there. It is just space control central for JDG.
And with the saplings and Vampire's dredge line, it is zoning TT away from entering into this topside river. They have to be careful, but they also want to try and fight for this Baron. It's whittling down so fast, though.
Keshi's moving in. TT going to try to move in, but they cannot get there in time. I think the call is to move away, but it might be too late. Yeah, they're losing bodies anyways. The Nature's Grasp came across as well, and HongQ is just assassinating people. The Tibbers not going to get the CC on a HongQ that he wanted there, and he will escape. Curtain Call had gotten used, but Vampire is going to expertly block that one, and the fourth shot does go a bit wide. A return from TT to defend their blue side, but still does feel like JDG much more favored moving forward in this game, and we have an Elder Dragon in 2 minutes. Keshi's going to try to take down JunJia here. Does have some teammates around, but not much help coming his way, and a nice deadly flourish from distance. That's going to be the Chains of Corruption used too, but a big pick coming through, and Junhao is the one that picks up the kill.
Crucial shutdown there for the Jace. Should get him enough gold rather, to pick up potentially a third item for himself ahead of this Elder fight that you were alluding to, let in. And now also does allow them to segue some control over to this bot side, push in that wave, and get some vision around this part of the map. The JDG still have 4 members with Baron. They should be able to push back these waves, regain control, and regain priority in time for the Elder. It's just a matter of, can Junhao, with that gold, with that shutdown onto JunJia, make a difference? It's a very small thing in the grand scheme of things, but TT, it's all they've really got.
Yeah, something to hold on to in this storm that they have created themselves, I guess, with the help of JDG. Not happy with it. 3 items down for Junhao. Did complete the Shrealdia's Grudge, and I've appreciated some of the adaptation of focus they've had with letting Keshi just kind of cook in the side lane here. I think Xiaoxu has been fine with answering him so far. As here we go, 50 seconds till the Elder Dragon. The flip of a lifetime here if TT can manage it. You haven't seen Junhao win these smite fights. He was able to get one earlier at least. But still feeling pretty good about JunJia's chances here.
Look at the amount of control that JDG have over this part of the map. They're not even just sitting in the river. They are literally pushing up this line on ThunderTalk, saying you will not enter into this area. We control this side of the jungle. If they step 1 foot too far, a dredge line will come through. A twisted advance will be there to follow. The lockdown from JDG, what made this comp so scary, being put on full display ahead of the Elder.
It truly is, and it's coming out of the heart of JDG as well, and some of the pieces that are really performing. We've talked so much about JunJia, HongQ, and Vampire and their trio moving around, but I got to give it to Xiaoxu, who's having an impeccable series, impeccable game, as well as the longest standing member of the current JDG lineup. It's going to be Curtain Call Unleashed here, trying to get some damage out. TP on the back line from Heru, but he's so far away. Feather just gets caught. It's going to be a late TP as well, hit by the Nature's Grasp by Keshi, and Heru is on the wrong side of the tracks here. Junhao, I don't even think he can get into 50-50. Heru's going to go for the double flamethrower play on a Gala, but Gala gets out alive for now. HongQ's the one that gets the kill on a Junhao. It is going to be as well JunJia claiming the Elder Dragon, which just starts flapping its angry wings and taking down TT one by little pesky one.
Keshi the only one to survive. The wave is pushed in here for a mid teleport. Going to come through here from HongQ after he gets a reset, you have to imagine. 4 members alive for JDG and about 30 seconds for them to try and end this game. We had some interesting thoughts after game number 1, Lennon, but JDG have snuffed those out and have cleared the skies that they are the 2nd seed and they have aspirations beyond losing to ThunderTalk.
They are looking so devastating here the last couple games. Just full control from them. Almost an 8,000 gold lead now, and just need to putting the finishing touches at least on TT. As we take a look back at that fight, a desperate Elder fight here by TT.
Desperate, I think, is an understatement here. I mean, Feather goes for an engage. He's totally alone. And to his credit,
he's so far away.
He was going to get dredgelined there, so I think his mentality was like, all right, I might as well go in and try to make something happen, but it doesn't end up paying dividends. I mean, Heru gets a flank angle here, but Gala's just able to flash away. There's no follow-up. All of ThunderTalk are completely disconnected, and it feels like the game is on its last legs here for TT.
JDG pushing down the bot lane. Keshi still pushing out top lane as an answer here. But I think JDG are going to do much more permanent damage to TT's home. They're going to move into the inhib turret down here as Keshi getting chased over by Xiaoxu. 4v4, and I think JDG like those odds. If Keshi can get back, that does make a big difference. As I don't think Xiaoxu's going to be able to stop it this time around. He's going to have to start walking here. Doesn't have the TP himself, but the siege is continuing as Gala takes a chunk of damage from that accelerated shock blast. The deadly flourish connects as well, but now Vampire's going to be dodging and blocking. It's going to be Keshi that's the focus. Elder Dragon's still up for another 15 seconds, and it might just reap the sowing damage here on a TT. That's not enough defense. They're just going to start losing the turrets. JDG, they gave us a little bit of a scare in game number 1, but they are now the ones scaring the LPL. A great start for them in these playoffs, and so far a dominant one in games 2, 3, and 4. The final piece to fall will be on, and the Nexus goes down 3-1 JDG.
And the David versus Goliath story is always fun when David wins, but it's called that because Goliath is favored to be the victor the entire time, is the bigger of the two, and is the Titan. JDG is certainly living up to the Goliath name as they smush TT after a tumultuous game number 1.
Just needed the splash of cold water, I guess, because after that,
the gold
I mean,
card.
Yeah, the gold card. It looked so dominant from that. And for the first half, like the first 20, 25 minutes for TT in game 2, it did look good for them. But since then, it was fully JDG focused. And it comes off the back of some of the inherent synergies we've seen developed between JunJia and HongQ and the rest of the team. And just having this all-star mid laner at 2 games in a row of just being so aggressive, so untouched, and so unkillable, it felt like.
I love how consistent of a player HongQ has grown to be. This is a guy who last year had a lot of upside, but especially against tougher competition, could suffer, could fall in the laning phase, and had a difficult time recovering from that point onward. Now, though, it feels like he is able to have that really good first 15 minutes, but minimizes a lot of those mistakes you see once you group up for mid to late game team fights. His performance individually, the growth he has shown since he joined the LPL has been so fun to watch, and I feel that this was his series. This was the core of CFO, the mid-jungle duo coming through here, showing that synergy and really slapping around ThunderTalk.
Yeah, it definitely felt like they became the 2nd seed again in this series, and that's where we'll take a little stop off for TT. It's not over. They still have a chance. The TT dream can still be alive in the lower bracket, but this was a sharp wake-up call, because
For sure.
going back to historical moments, that was the craziest Knights rivals we've ever had since it
By
even
far.
began. And we were wondering what kind of euphoric high these teams would be riding going into the playoffs when it's real competition with the top dogs that you're facing off against. And this was that wake-up call for TT.
It was a wake-up call, but it was also, I think, an interesting reminder that the gap isn't as big as we initially thought, Mazel. I think going into this series, many people would likely have predicted a JDG 3-0 just because ThunderTalk are such an enigma to have in the top 8. So random that this kind of team that has only managed to get into the playoffs a handful of times in their 5-year existence in the LPL, now being able to take a game off the second seed is certainly an achievement in of itself. So yeah, interested to see where the TT dream ends up going at the end of all of the playoffs, but I think them being able to look competitive against JDG for, I'm going to say like 1.5 games, I think is appropriate, does inspire at least a little bit of confidence for the people who might have been thinking this would be a team that would play 6 games of League of Legends and then bounce out.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what their run can be like in that lower bracket. Glad to see JDG fire on all cylinders. Again, I think the undersung moment through all this was the adaptation of draft, especially in games 3 and 4. Incredible drafts from Tabe and Co. and whoever came up with those. I think it just enabled the pieces we wanted to see enabled for the team 2 times in a row.
And for Xiaoxu, we got to see some of the Michelin star cooking from Tabe on the special picks, right? Like we had a graphic talking about the Neferi and the Olaf, and we get to add Shen onto the list of interesting picks given over to this guy. 16th unique pick of the split, and he absolutely performed on it. That game 3, I think, was probably the most dominant win for JDG, and it wasn't particularly close. JunJia and Xiaoxu, the top side specifically of JDG, really coming up fourth, and they were the ones that we wanted to keep our eyes on going into this series, because TT's top side were usually how they liked to get wins as well. So it's good to see that JDG are able to perform with the top side. Wanted to make sure just ahead of the big best of 5s, Mazel. And like you said, this is the second seeded team. They played like it today after game 1.
Yeah, after game 1. That's the funniest part about this is we have to have the caveat in there. Yeah, we have to. That's just how it all panned out here. Hopefully we'll be getting post-game stats for a while. I think we've had some technical difficulties on the side of the Chinese broadcast here tonight. But it's funny. Hey, you know, we're in person, so things get a little bit more chaotic on their side. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But it is going to be, now that we get to see it, just a pretty dominant win across the board. I mean, it's not like TT didn't have like opportunities to make this closer, but it did feel like there was a moment of control for JDG that they just never gave back.
For sure, and it stemmed from the first 15 minutes of the game. JunJia has been a jungler so good at hitting the ground running and being proactive and dropping resources when necessary. The Maokai champion really requires you to kind of forsake your own tempo and forsake your own conditions in order to get the lanes ahead, because you're on a timer to do so. And I think JunJia made the most of that timer, not just in this game, but in all of the games that JDG managed to find a win. It was due to his merit of being very expedient around the map in the first couple of minutes of the game.
And we're going to take a look back at some of these moments. And I just really like the efficiency of the Maokai. This is that big play, that turnaround where it's a good death for JunJia to get a triple kill for HongQ.
For sure, it is. Setting up for his team to kind of clean house at this point. That piercing arrow was absolutely
into the chains of corruption too.
Yeah. From over the wall, the Varus makes his presence known, and then HongQ gets a triple kill. And HongQ, man, we were talking about how HongQ is usually the setup for JunJia to have a pop-off performance on a lot of his carries. In this series, I think we were half wrong. JunJia set up HongQ to absolutely blow up ThunderTalk in their wins. So it's good to know that it works both ways, Mazel.
Yeah, it's a dual relationship, symbiotic, if you will, on the volleyball court that is Summoner's Rift, for our reference. But it's important to highlight that this is that's why we put so much focus on it. The big strength for JDG, and that's why I was pretty excited for this matchup in the TT, because I really appreciated what their mid jungle was able to do with Junhao and Heru last time out. But we see that, you know, fighting fire with fire, sometimes one of them gets snuffed out.
For sure. And to the credit of Junhao and Heru, really overall good performances from both of them. I think for Heru, like, this is a guy still in his first year of competitive play. He's got a lot of mechanical upside. The macro sense is not necessarily as chiseled out as I think other mid laners, especially in Ascend, have it to be. But, you know, that kind of reminds me of another mid laner that might also be in this series, Mazel, who had their first year of high mechanical upside with a few macro oopsies here and there.
That's so funny. Just throwing out the duality of man, if you will.
Your first year is about the mechanics and it's about the comfort. Second year is about the macro. That's the roadmap, it seems like, for mid laners.
That dredge line, God, man, he was hitting some crazy ones this game too. But that's the final part of this game, number 4. I want to start talking about who you think got MVP for game 4 and who you think got player of the match for the series.
For game number 4, I honestly feel inclined to give it over to Vampire. Those dredge lines were schnasty.
They're pretty nasty.
To put it lightly. For the whole series, I think HongQ should take it. You know, he got player of the match for 2 games. I think logically he's probably going to win it no matter what, even if this specific game gets given over to another JDG player. And he absolutely earned it.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think as well, like, Xiaoxu did have some very, very big performances there, but Vampire specifically for this game, I think I would agree there. Some crazy impact from him, and HongQ probably for the player of the match as well. But that's it for our first best of 5. Quax, final thoughts before I start sending us off into our second best of 5 of the day.
JDG, just second seed going into the tournament and looking to play like it. This is a team that wants to get back to international waters and got to keep up those performances like we saw in games 2 through 4 if they want to make that happen. I'm excited to see what the playoffs have in store, Mazel. It is going to be a banger. If the regular season was any indication, if the play-ins were any indication, we have got some very fun best of 5s on the horizon.
We do indeed. Speaking of, we have another one ready and locked to go. We will be getting replaced by Slayer and K-Man, who will take you through top esports versus LGD. It should be a fun one. We'll see you there, and I'll see you in chat.